Hi Gomes graduates, and welcome to a wonderfully wacky Wednesday. I hope you are embracing this week's theme, and I know I am. I have my colorful headband that I didn't even know I owned until this morning, and I have my sloth shirt with sloths all over the arms. That's kind of cool. So we talked last video about how plot occurs throughout a story. So using the Titanic, we had that kind of exposition, that introduction, and then moving on from there. So as you go through your MyOn projects and as you're reading through those books, make sure you refer back to the video if you ever get confused. So what we're going to be talking about today is actually two different things. We're going to be talking about one, which is going to be point of view, and that's something that we've talked about in class a lot. So we have first person, second person, and third person point of view. So we'll go into that a little bit more detailed in a second. And then after that, we're also going to talk about theme and how you can find themes within stories. So as you're reading your books for your MyOn project, keep those two things in mind as well. So let's take a second and do a quick review.
So the first thing that we have is first person point of view, and that is when there is a character from the story actually telling you the story. So in that case, we have words such as I, me, my, and it'll talk about that specific character's thoughts and feelings. So it would say things like, I was so excited to start my trip, or I couldn't wait to see what everyone thought. So it's one person's point of view telling you the story. Next, we have second person point of view, which uses the words you or your quite often. And it's not something you really see. Second person point of view is not used all that frequently. Often it'll feel like the narrator is talking directly to you as a reader, but really they're talking to another character from somewhere in the story. But it feels as if the reader is being directly addressed by the person telling the story. Last, we have third person point of view, and this is where it gets kind of tricky because there are two types of third person points of view. And when we're reading this third person point of view, it's someone from the outside looking over a story. So we have omniscient, which means that this above person doesn't have any preference or bias. They don't have any opinions about what is happening to any characters, and they know everything about every single character. So they know all of the thoughts and feelings of every character. Then we have limited third person point of view, and this person only knows what's going on inside the hearts and the minds of one person in the story. So they may know everything about how one person feels, but they don't know everything about everyone else. So that's just a quick review of the different types of point of view, but it's your job as a learner and as a reader to try to figure out what these point of views do for the story. So how is the story affected by it being told from first person point of view, where you only have the thoughts and opinions of one person? Or how would it be different if it was told from a different point of view, like second person, or third, if someone knows everything? The last thing we're going to talk about today is theme, and theme is the main message that the author wants you to learn or know. And it's normally this really big idea about life, and it's not something that is directly stated in the text. So the text will never tell you. The theme of the story is to find happiness even in daily things. Something that you need to infer. So it's something that you need to gather clues about from the text and make a logical decision. A lot of the time, theme and main idea can be very easily confused. The theme of a story is the moral lesson or message, but the main idea is talking about what it is mostly about. Below in this chart are some examples of what a theme looks like compared to what a main idea looks like. So if you're confused, pause the video right now and take a look. Let's stop and take a look at the passage for this week. It was the beginning of the school year, and Sasha was not happy that Jake was her reading partner. School had only been in session for 2 weeks, and Jake had already made fun of her glasses and her blue shoes. Sasha told Mrs. Nelson, her 5th grade teacher, about these rude interactions in hopes of switching reading partners. Unfortunately, Mrs. Nelson told Sasha that Jake would remain her partner for the realistic fiction unit. Still feeling upset about having to work with Jake, Sasha avoided eye contact with him when he walked into their room after recess. Until thud. When Sasha heard this loud noise, she looked up to see that all of Jake's books had fallen out of his backpack. Jake's face turned bright red as he bent down to pick up the mess. Sasha rushed over to him. Despite Jake's rude behavior to her during the first 2 weeks of school, Sasha helped Jake pick up his books and said, "No worries, Jake. Isn't it hard to lug all these books around?" That afternoon during their reading partnership, Jake thanked Sasha for her kind gesture. He even mentioned that the ideas she shared that day helped him to think of literary reflections. Sasha realized that she was learning a lot from Jake too. As the realistic fiction unit came to a close, Sasha and Jake both realized that they had learned a great deal from each other and had even found a new friend.
Based off of what I read in this story, I can figure out that this is a story that's told from third person point of view. I know that there's this character from above that knows a lot about what is happening. They're not someone who is directly involved in the story. Also, I know that it is a limited point of view from third person because the narrator really only knows about Sasha's feelings and actions. So I know how she's feeling, but I don't really have any clues about how the other characters in the story are feeling other than how they're acting.
Your challenge is to explain how the point of view influences the way that this story is told. Also, what do you think the theme of this paragraph is?
Thank you to everyone who has been working so hard. Just know that your teachers do see how hard you're working and that we appreciate that. Make sure that you are trying your absolute best, and if you don't understand something, reach out to one of us. This way we can actually help you. That's why we're here, right? So keep working hard, and I can't wait to see what you come up with this week for your amazing work. I love reading your comments and your responses, so definitely comment down below and make sure you have subscribed so you get notifications of all the new videos. And embrace the theme for this week. Bye guys.